Our next race on the track. It's our first and indeed our only distance race of this evening. And well, we had the women's scratch race final yesterday. And just for completeness, we got the men's scratch race final today. Distance is a little further. The women rode a 10-kilometre scratch race final. The men are riding a distance of 15 kilometres. That is 60 laps of the track. And the riders in the lineup for this one, seeing them just being brought out onto trackside. The reigning champion. Well, we've already seen him in action for Australia in the team pursuit a little bit earlier this evening. That's Sam Welsford, and he's here to try and defend his title of world scratch race champion. They took in Pruszków in Poland last year, along with that team pursuit title as well. It's also the Commonwealth Games scratch race champion from the Gold Coast in Australia in 2018. Other riders you definitely need to keep an eye on, though. Yauheni Karaliok of Belarus, who was the 2018 champion in Apeldoorn. The Belarus points race champion in the national titles of Belarus this year. Took a scratch race win in Minsk in the opening round of the World Cup last year as well. Roy Yauheni of the Netherlands, yes, again, another Danish rider to keep a very careful eye on here. He was a silver medalist last year in the world titles. Thomas Sexton, who took the bronze last year, is not in the race this year. So representing New Zealand is Nick Kazogo, who is the rider who took the silver medal in the team pursuit back in 2017. Is an Oceania and New Zealand kilometre champion, would you believe, as well, over the shorter distance. But looking for a good position here. There is the man who is set to defend his title, Sam Welsford. And Christina, he's been on the track relatively recently for Australia in the team pursuit. That's not necessarily what you want to happen when you're riding a long final like this one. Will it have any effect, do you think, on Sam Welsford in his ability to defend his title? It's not gone well for Australia in title defence so far, in fairness, in these championships.
Scratch race is, I think, the discipline which close to a road race, starting together, and who crossing the the finish line is the new world champion. And day by day, the pressure on the Australian riders' shoulders getting higher, because I think Australia is used to winning medals, and to have the second day without a medal is, I think, really hard. So I hope that he can ride really free, just enjoying, kind of, have the eye wide open to see the tactics from the others, and then maybe do it again.
Well, our camera's focusing quite rightly on the defending champion, but he's surrounded by 23 other riders who want to take that title away from him. There's Christos Volokakis of Greece, and he's a rider who absolutely loves the scratch race. You can see his palmares, as we say in the world of cycling, some of his achievements, silver medals at world and European levels for scratch and elimination racing. He's won scratch racing in the World Cup as well. So there is Roy Yauheni, last year's silver medalist for the Netherlands, already involved in that action as well for the World Cup. And another man who is definitely a favourite here as well for Spain is Seb Mora, three-time silver medalist in the scratch race and the points race at World Championship level. And he's the current European scratch race champion, Sebastian Mora. For Belarus, the champion of 2018, Yauheni Karaliok is there. You see his title from the World Championships in 2018, along with success in the World Cup as well. China here have Yang Guo, the Asian Madison champion and winner of the scratch race at the World Cup in Hong Kong at the beginning of the 2019 season. There is, already mentioned, the reigning champion, 24 years of age, from Australia, Sam Welsford, the man with the task here of trying to save a little bit of face here for Australia, and perhaps try and not only take the first medal of this championship, but also to defend a title that Australia had quite a number of from the Worlds last year. Looking down the rest of the line here, a very strong field of riders assembled indeed. Russian Federation there, just gathering his thoughts as well. That's Andrei Sazonov, a European under-3 points race champion from a few years ago. And for Germany here, the home crowd again will be getting behind Maximilian Bayer, former German Omnium champion, bronze medalist of the European points title in 2017. For Poland, for the home crowd last year, and rider who's taken silver medals at junior world level in both scratch and points races. for Poland is Filip Prokopskin. So a strong lineup indeed. This is a rolling lap before the gun fires and the race gets underway. 60 laps of racing to deliver our world champion here. So in theory, it's all about the first 3 riders across the line, unless riders begin to gain laps. And of course, our race winner might be amongst the main field. The gun is fired by our starter to get 60 laps, or 15 kilometers of scratch race action underway. Christina, as you were saying, this is the probably the closest discipline on the track to road racing, or certainly the final 15 kilometers of a road race stage anyway. And it's a title that's often been won by riders who also excel on the road. And of course, strong team pursuit riders as well, of which Sam Welsford has already shown his abilities in that one here and in recent years. But it's interesting to speculate who might come out on top here. Another rider you certainly would not rule out of the prospect of taking a good position here is for Great Britain, Matt Walls here. The rider for Great Britain, the current European Under-23 Omnium and Madison champion for Great Britain, is trying to fly the flag for Great Britain team here. They too, like Australia, are desperate to try and show that they're in medal-winning form ahead of the Olympic Games in Tokyo, just a few short months' time. I know that some people are saying, well, you don't need to take away from the World Championships, but of course, World Championships are vitally important, but in an Olympic year, it is the final stepping stone to Olympic success, and that's why many teams are focusing very much on the riders here to see who's going to make the lineup for the Olympic Games as well. Of course, the scratch race is not a separate discipline at the Olympics, but we are looking to see the form that these riders might take into the Omnium competition in the Olympic Games, and of course that is one of the elements of the men's Omnium. So it's a great pointer for that one. And it's always a very entertaining event as well for the crowd. Onboard camera with Andrei Sazonov of the Russian Federation. He's showing you a full-on view there of Simone Consoni of Italy, rider at the front of that little group. And there is the man who took the silver medal last year, Roy Efting of the Netherlands, the Dutch scratch race champion from 2017. Well, the Dutch certainly in great form in sprinting. But Roy Efting here must be feeling a degree of confidence, Christina, as being the rider who took the silver medal last year in the championships in Pruskov. He's surrounded by many of the same riders he was in battle with last year, and just losing out to Welsford on that occasion. He wanted to try and get the better of the Australian this time and convert that silver to a gold medal on the podium later this evening.
It's always nice when you remember that you win once a medal here. It gives you a lot of confidence as well. But every scratch race has its own rules, and sometimes a gap is jumping, a group is jumping, and you can't hide them. So we will see, and you see now the bunch is getting a little bit hectic. I think it's not far away that the first group will jump and trying to get a big gap. Yeah, it's beginning to leveling up.
Yep, they're snaking up and down the track, one long line of riders. That's always an indication that the pace is beginning to build. But coming to the front is the man from Ireland with the name of English. It is Felix English, winner of a round of the Madison in the World Cup in Los Angeles a couple of years ago. And Felix English, let me tell you, is a rider who has also been a British circuit race champion on the road back in 2012 when he raced in Great Britain. So Felix English just dropping off the front and drifting back down the line. So that little move we saw beginning to develop has once again contracted the group, come all back together here. Just maybe a little bit of a testing move just to see who's going to get involved if a group tries to go clear. Matt Walls, we noted, of Great Britain, was towards the front there as well. 48 laps remaining of this 60-lap men's scratch race final. And for Switzerland, just finding himself with a small advantage here is Maro Schmidt, the rider who took the bronze medal in the Swiss individual pursuit titles. Also, when we said this is a race for road race riders, he's a former Swiss under-23 road race champion from last year. In fact, it's the current Swiss under-23 road race champion. So Maro Schmidt looking to bring his form from the road onto the track. But that little move, I don't think it was intended for Schmidt to try and move clear at that point. He just found himself in the front. Everyone else was looking at each other. And now it's the United States of America who have taken up the position at the head of the main field as they may begin to try and force a move clear here. Adrian Neheshvari of the United States is the Pan American Madison Scratch Race champion from 2018, and he does a little turn on the front before swinging off the head of the race as well. Now, Christina, we're beginning to see a gap here, and quite a number of riders distance at the back of the race here, so the bunch beginning to accelerate once again, and riders struggling with the pace at the back. And Welsford Australia is on the front of that back group who've lost ground on the main field.
Yeah, when thing is when the bunch is lining up, it's hard to get what's happening, you know, and when then a group is jumping and having an extremely big gap, it's hard to get them back. It costs so much power to get back in the bunch.
Well, here is a lead group, the first significant breakaway move we have seen, and Felix English of Ireland is on the front of it. Well, we saw that little move earlier for Felix English, just testing the mettle of the other riders. And the man is in trouble here is the man from Spain, Sebastian Mora, the European Scratch Race champion. It looks like he's shortly going to lose a lap here. Well, one of the riders you would expect to be challenging perhaps for a medal here has been caught by the front of that leading group. It's going to come back together, but Sebastian Mora has lost a lap here for Spain with 40 laps to go. Oh, surprise perhaps for Seb Mora, one of the most experienced riders on the track here. But that little move was brought back by the main field. But perhaps a sign of things to come. 10 kilometers remaining as they went through last time. The Mexican rider here was involved in that little move as well. Mexico represented by Ignacio Prado. He was second in the World Scratch Race titles in 2016. So we've seen Mexico riding well in the women's sprint a little bit earlier with Gaxiola, and Prado, I'm sure, will be looking to try and emulate that performance from 4 years ago, back in 2016 in London when the World Championships took place, when he took the silver medal. So again, one long line of riders on the top part of the track. It's almost like the parade laps you do at the start of a 6-day at the moment, Christina, as the riders snaking up and down the track here. But these moves proving difficult to try and stay away. We've seen a couple of attempts to do so, but the main field have responded, and that danger for Welsford a few moments ago when he found himself right at the back of the race. Well, he's actually still the rider at the back, but it's still, with the exception of just a couple of riders going away here, let's come back together once again. But Sam Welsford, do you think he's just trying to save a little bit of energy in the wheels at this stage of the race? He can't afford to let any significant moves go clear, though, because the danger flag will be flying if Welsford sees riders of the stature of Matt Walls going off the front here, and Walls is being followed very closely by the rider from Kazakhstan. That is Alisha Zukaman, the Asian team pursuit bronze medalist, and the race has split once again with a leading group which is 6 riders strong here, with Italy latching onto the back of that group as well. This is a danger move, and strong riders indeed, including Poland in that leading group as well. They come to the head of the race. Switzerland also there as well. 2 more riders trying to latch on, including for Germany, trying to get onto that lead group as well. So Italy involved in that move, and the main field are beginning to lose ground, and this is a serious leading group now.
Yeah, we just can hope that everyone make it work. Sometimes when you have a good working group, there's always one who want to spare a little bit of power and not go to the front, and then you have a misunderstanding and the bunch get you back. But you see now Sam Welsford, you see that the back is too big, the group is with too many people. It could be dangerous that he have to go and he have to catch the group, and that costs a lot of power. Maybe he has done not enough power on the tank left. Yeah,
Sam Welsford realised the danger quite rightly and was involved in that 3-man chase of that leading group. They're once again going to come back together here. Matt Walls still thereabouts at the head of the race for Great Britain, also there for Switzerland as well, at the head of that line as they went through that time. Switzerland, Mario Schmidt, the man we mentioned a few moments ago. Once again, a move trying to be dragged away, and Italy for Consone, Walls for Great Britain, and Volikakis is up there for Greece as well. Christos Volikakis is there, but it is the man from Switzerland. Could be an outside favourite here, Mario Schmidt. He has certainly proven to be a very strong rider indeed. He's been involved in all of the attacking moves we have seen so far. We are looking at 28 laps remaining in this men's Scratch Race final. Mario Schmidt is the man at the head of the race. Is this a move to try and leave the rest of the race behind and gain the lap, perhaps, to catch the back of the main field? He will go 1 lap ahead. and that will mean he is the leader of the race, even though he's not on the front. But Mauro Schmidt with 27 laps to go. Difficult to try and gain a lap on your own. The man who is in pursuit here is the rider for Poland. That is Proposkin, who is looking to try and ride onto the wheel of Schmidt of Switzerland. Those are the two riders ahead of the race. Kazakhstan lead the charge in the main field. This is dangerous, Christina. These riders are getting closer to seeing the back of the main field in the same straight they're in. And Schmidt of Switzerland fully committed to this move to try and gain the lap on the field.
Yes, and when he catch the bunch, he's the leading of the squash. So, yeah, what is he? Maybe he hasn't put enough power.
Well, the pole has caught up to the Swiss rider. And, well, in fact, it's the Belarus rider, I should say. Let's correct that one as they come into our view here. It is Belarus who is up there with the rider from Switzerland. And the Belarusian is the former champion from 2018, Yauheni Karaliok. So he is a real danger rider here for the defending champion, Sam Welsford, who is half a lap behind our leading two. So it is the rider from Switzerland who instigated this move, Mauro Schmidt. He was then joined by the 2018 World Points Scratch Race champion, the rider from Belarus, Yauheni Karaliok. Those are our two leading riders. Main field are giving chase. That is exactly what they need to do. There's 22 laps to go. Sam Welsford trying to persuade Roy Efting to get involved in this chase here. Efting, the silver medalist from last year, was Welsford is the gold medalist from last year. Those two involved in the chase because this danger move is being pinned a little bit now by this chase from the three riders behind. And it is once again the Mexican rider, Prado, who is beginning to try and stretch this one out. I think the two leaders are going to get caught. So Schmidt and Karaliok are going to be caught, first of all, by the gap closed up by Mexico here. And also coming along, we've got Mora of Spain and Efting of the Netherlands. Through they go. And that leading group of four riders has come together with 19 laps to go. Efting on the front, little flick of the elbow there. That means I'm going to swing up, your turn to make the pace here. And it is Prado of Mexico who is on the front as they, this group of four riders is the next serious attacking move. 19 laps to go. So once again, Sam Welsford will need to try and think about chasing this one because last year's silver medalist is the danger man here because Roy Efting is in that leading group of four. As they come round, they'll see 18 laps remaining. We'll be almost into the final 4 kilometers. Sebastian Mora of Spain on the front. Then it is Efting, then it's Prado of Mexico as they come through the line. The chase here across the gap from the Ukraine, and Heshvar of the United States is going there as well. The Ukrainian rider is Roman Gladish, a European scratch race champion from 2018. But the leading four with Mora on the front for Spain, Efting in second wheel, and then the Mexican rider who is very strong indeed. We've seen that already. The chase behind as the rider from Ukraine and the United States are joined by a third chaser. So 4 leaders, 3 chasers, then the main field. 15 laps to go. Mora begins to ride off the front of this group and trying to bridge across to the gap that's opened up ahead of him is the next rider trying to close that gap. This is getting really interesting indeed now. We're inside the final 4 kilometers and Sebastian Mora is being pursued very, very rapidly here by Yauheni Karaliok of Belarus. At the back of the main field, just under the scoreboard, Karaliok and Mora have left the other 3 behind. This is a dangerous move indeed. Well, Mora was off the back earlier in the race, but he's certainly come to the fore now with 13 laps to go. Sebastian Mora, vastly experienced, and Yauheni Karaliok, a former champion. Can they make the lap? The main field is set up, Christina. This is a real significant moment here because these 2 riders could well get onto the back of that main field and gain a lap.
It was a great turn because you feel that the group isn't far enough to get to the bunch. So the only way he could say, okay, I jump out, do my own, and trying to make the distance to the bunch. And I think Sam Welsford is pretty happy because he's trying always to attack and to kind of wake up the others. Hey, I want to go. Is someone go with me? But it's not working for a side.
Well, the junction has pretty much been made with 10 laps remaining here in the men's World Scratch Race final. And the riders who have latched onto the back of that one So all kinds of panic and consternation now in the main field. Welsford is at the front. There goes Mora again, not content with catching them up. He has once again gone on the attack, and he's again taken Karaliok with him. So they caught him at the back of that main field, and they're on the run again. 9 laps to go. So Mora and Karaliok on the lead lap. Everyone else fighting for third place at the moment. Sebastian Mora and the former champion Yauheni Karaliok are on the head of the race. There they are, the New Zealand rider sitting on the back of those two. The rest of the field are at various positions behind our leaders, including the defending champion Sam Welsford. Well, is it once again going to be a medal that Australia came into this race to defend is ridden away from them? It looks very much like that situation at the moment. Only 7 laps to go. The prospects of further lap gains are now remote, but lap losses could still happen because our leading two, Sebastian Mora and Yauheni Karaliok, have come clear of that main field that they caught to gain the lap. So the race with 6 laps remaining. And here they are, these two. Well, quite sure what's happening here. Mora just swinging up, and now back into the well of the track they go. And Sebastian Mora and Yauheni Karaliok have been caught up by the main field once again. So swings different fortune here as Welsford comes through to the head of the race. Valikakis of Greece is up there as well. Mora and Karaliok are still on the front of the group here as they come around. 4 laps to go. Hejvari of the United States is in a battle for the remaining medal positions. This is the head of the race coming to the finishing straight here. The riders who are at the front, those who are between the riders who gained the lap, the main field. So they're essentially the chasers, and there are 3 laps to go. They're not far away from the back of that bunch either. So Adrian Hejvari of the United States of America involved in this action. Simone Consoni of Great Britain, of Italy, Matt Walls of Great Britain, and the rider from Mexico, Ignacio Prado, are the 3 riders who are going to get onto the back of that group as well. Well, all sorts of action in the closing laps here. I said another lap game was unlikely, but have they done it? With a lap to go, we'll wait for a confirmation on this one. Yeah, pick your winner right here. Comes Matt Walls coming around the outside. Mora and Karaliok still in the front here as they come towards the line. This is the battle for the medals, and Karaliok coming around the outside of Mora. Valikakis is third across the line, but Walls of that little group who gained the lap in the closing stages. Well, Sebastian Mora and Yauheni Karaliok, I think, will be confirmed on the front of that race. We're waiting for the official result here, Christina. That got very complicated indeed in the closing stages, with that chasing group who are being indicated as the head of the race catching up at the back of the main field with just about the bell lap to go. But Karaliok and Mora were at the head of the race. Officials scribbling away. We're waiting for the confirmed result to be shown on the scoreboard. And indeed on our result system here, well, 16 minutes and 59 seconds of racing. There was no shortage of action at any point in that scratch race. We saw several attempted moves to go clear, then Karaliok and Mora gaining ground. But that other group coming through towards the end of the race as well made for a very exciting final run to the line here. And it looking as though, well, no doubt we did see him as the first rider to gain the lap. Yauheni Karaliok has regained the title he took back in 2018 in Apeldoorn. So the first medal of these championships for Belarus. Well, we're looking at the continuing changing situation on our results computer here. So we're only going to confirm at the moment that Yauheni Karaliok is the gold medal winner for Belarus. He gained the lap and was the first rider across the finish line. Here's another look at this one. Look at Welsford getting into a bit of shoulder-to-shoulder action with Christos Valikakis of Greece.
I think you didn't get that there were more people who gaining a lap.
Yeah, absolutely.
And it's a hard work for the commissars because the bunch was just exploring, and when you're not watching every second of this race, you can't know who's leading, and it's really hard. Great work for the commissars so far.
Well, I looked up in the early stage of the race from behind our monitor here to see Sebastian Mora just latch against the back of the group again, and did think at that point that he actually lost a lap, but it was never indicated on our scoring system, so I wasn't fully concentrating on Sebastian Mora's whereabouts, so maybe he was just going off and getting back on again. So we're just waiting for confirmation of Mora's position. He was certainly the rider who went on that lap-gaining exercise with Yauheni Karaliok. But more riders gaining a lap on that final run to the line, including Simone Consoni of Italy. And I think, well, the crowd have erupted here. I think that the result we're now seeing is going to be the fair reflection of what happened. Sebastian Mora being acknowledged by the crowd. So Yauheni Karaliok, Simone Consoni, Sebastian Mora is given us the 1-2-3, with Matt Walls just in 4th place. He gained that lap in the final lap or so, along with Roy Evening last year's silver medalist, along with Adrian Hajvari, the United States rider, and along with Yauheni Karaliok, of course, who was the rider who gained the lap initially. So that was an action-packed race, the outcome in doubt right until the final calculations had been completed. But Yauheni Karaliok has taken back the title he last had in 2018, and showing just how important that lap game was in the middle part of the race. And there he is with the Belarus flag, celebrating a world title, his 2nd world scratch race title.
It was so great work. It was not a race with having luck. He worked so hard for the medal, trying to keep always from the front, pushing really hard, overview the whole bunch. I think it was a great turn to pick that early, the lap, that you control then. And you see some people who are gaining lap, then trying to recover a little bit in the bunch, but no, we have to go again. I want to have the medal, and I want to have the title. So he works really, really hard for that. And it's great that hard work pays off.
It certainly does, and that definitely was hard work to win that medal. But Yauheni Karaliok takes the first medal for Belarus at these 2020 UCI Track Cycling World Championships here from the Berlin Velodrome in Germany. And there he is, sweat dripping from his forehead as well it might. Had to absolutely apply maximum pressure, greeted by the rest of the Belarusian camp here. To congratulate a man who's now twice been the world scratch race champion. And well, that form he showed in the World Cup in Minsk last year. He took the scratch race there as well.